There's a lot going on in the garden today. Lots of new things starting to open up, like that cardinal flower and all this cut leaf coneflower, which is just swarming with tiny sweat bees. They're little metallic stingless native bees that often, if you're very sweaty and it's a hot day, they might come and land on you and tickle you a bit, drinking your sweat. I'm pretty sweaty right now and they aren't on me at all, unfortunately. They're really cute. But there are lizards and caterpillars and beetles and all sorts of bees all over these plants. It's hard to find any other plant in my garden right now that is getting this much attention. The only thing that is beating it at the moment, or at the same level at the moment, is the partridge pea in the sunny part of the yard. Over here we've got some oak leaf hydrangeas showing some very nice fall color. I love this one that's so bright red. Got some blue mist flowers starting to bloom. It's another plant that the sweat bees really like, but as long as the cutleaf coneflower is in bloom, the cutleaf coneflower is getting most of the attention. Over here we have some giant goldenrod finishing up. When this is in full bloom, it's usually covered in things, but there's not too many open flowers left. Over here, we're getting into some pretty cool things. This is Walter's wingstem, which is a pretty rare, globally imperiled plant, which means it only has a few thousand wild populations left, or a few thousand, maybe even wild individuals left. It's pretty secure in Mississippi and Louisiana, but in other parts of its range, like Alabama, it's pretty rare. And right here, we've got a spiny orb weaver that I can't focus on, but it's, there we go. It's flicking at us to let us know that it's here, because it really wants to be catching like that plant hopper that it's eating right now, two-lined spittlebug. It's wanting to eat those and have those come into the web, but it isn't wanting any humans or birds to bump into the web, which makes sense. And actually, I'm not sure if you can see it, there's these little pieces of web that are thicker, and those are actually specifically for humans and birds so that we don't run into them. Of course, it doesn't always work because we're not paying attention. We'll walk into it anyway, but they try. Some more cardinal flower. This is such a beautiful red. It really pops out. Got some purple top tridens starting to bloom. It's a beautiful little grass. Over here we've got our resin dot sunflower and some sort of desmodium. I'm not sure which desmodium species this is. But this sunflower has been blooming for a while, and it does a phenomenal job of attracting queen bumblebees and other critters. Got some more cutleaf coneflower over here with some giant ironweed starting to bloom as well. And man, this stuff, you can't really see it, but it's swarming with tiny pollinators. So many of them. Over here we have some of my nursery plants. Got a lot more over here. I'll give you a trip through some of those. Here's a little black-eyed Susan that's deciding to bloom later than normal. These guys can bloom as late as January, and they can stay blooming for quite a while. Over here we've got some world milkweed. This was blooming a few weeks ago. It's not blooming anymore. It's a beautiful little milkweed. And we've got the nursery. So over here we've got some of our native canna lily, Canna flaccida, which has beautiful yellow flowers. Hopefully all of these will make it through winter and I'll be able to sell them next year. We've got some of this partridge pea that I was talking about earlier. This one's a smaller one, so it's not as covered in pollinators, but still does a good job. I see bees on it all the time. Here's a goldenrod that's blooming more. This is another giant goldenrod. Very pretty. They don't cause allergies. That's ragweed that does that. We've got some man of the earth, or the wild potato vine, wild morning glory. It has a big tuber that can sometimes weigh 45 pounds. And so that's why it's called the man of the earth, because it feels like you're digging up a man if you try to dig one of them up. Now here's a carpenter bee on cutleaf coneflower, thumping a little beetle out of the way. What else do we have here? We got a little bit of a pink flower from longflower bee blossom, Henothera filiformis. We've got some wild poinsettia, fire on the mountain, that still blooming strong and making seeds. We've got some of this Virginia obedient plant. I think it's a lovely plant. It's called obedient plant because if you take the flowers and you move them, they stay in their new spot. It's not called obedient plant because it's well behaved, because it is not well behaved. It spreads quite a bit. Over here we have some horse balm, Monarda punctata, or spotted bee balm, horse mint. It's a great plant, smells pretty good, looks very stunning. And then we got some more things over here, like Virginia strawberries. That's a nice ground cover plant. A bunch of asters, a bunch of narrowleaf mountain mint, great pollinator plant. Some scarlet hibiscus, bunch of other stuff. Sensitive plant, Mimosa microphylla. This is a native plant where if you touch it, well, it's not a very good day for it because it's not warm. They move faster when it's warm. But they are starting to close a little bit. Being pretty lazy today. We got some white top sedge, or white top flat sedge. These are what the seeds look like after it's done flowering. But it's got these little bracts that are nice bright white when it's blooming, and it looks like little stars, shooting stars. I think it has the potential to be a great lawn replacement in wet areas. Got swamp rose. This is the rose that likes wet, poorly draining soil. If you have that and you can't grow other roses, it's a great rose to grow. We got some of our native Virgin's Bower clematis. It's got white flowers just like the autumn clematis. Got a lot of other stuff in here too. So that's all the stuff that's blooming. Have a good day.